a book at night, so.
Well, it's not that hard to read.
I mean, next time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
one's
imagine
got a
giving it
1-year-old.
time.
So.
Yeah, and that's it, there's no time.
She's a busy mom, so.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes it even
She's a
worse.
1-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I could like do it because I had jury duty.
No, I thought I'd take it when he was in the hospital and read while I was with, yeah, no.
But I got through it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, why don't we go ahead and start? Do you need to do something on before we start?
No, I've got everything up and running, and I got my do not disturb on, so hopefully we don't have a bunch of annoying little alerts coming through the computer in the middle of it. We just need Don to sit down.
Okay.
Sit down, Don, behave.
Why, I can hear her from wherever I'm at. All right, I'll sit down, smart ass.
Yes. Now you get to run the monitoring there.
Well, then you're in deep shit.
Okay, so why don't you show them real fast while you're standing there? Next
so
month, it is,
the Beyond Fairies.
turn it around,
Oh, what help, wouldn't it? Haha, there we go.
that's next month,
And then September is How to Survive Mercury Retrograde.
which will be in, we will be in a Mercury retrograde for that book.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to see it firsthand.
So they are here and available to get tonight before you leave.
If you need them.
Do you use that credit card?
Sure can.
All right.
Sure can, sure can.
I love it. I got booked up already.
Oh, good, 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 good.
That's 3 out of
Good Lord,
4.
I get
Oh,
me.
perfect, perfect,
Go back
perfect.
through and give me a call.
Okay, so let's
Well, I
let's
told
try
her to
to,
give me the
get our
readings
heads
because I
around that.
lost it.
give me a general, what did you
Because
think?
she's already
Loved
got
it.
2 classes.
Loved it, great.
Is to consider the one pendulum. too.
Okay.
Certain
She
parts,
gets
I'm like,
to give
okay,
me
yeah, I'm there.
dates
I'm
and
down with
see what
that.
I'm
Other parts, I'm
available
like,
for.
okay.
And
That
possibility
doesn't feel right.
that we'll look at the psychometry energy.
So somebody
Okay, I'll
needs
kind of
to
look on that while
explain
you
it
guys
to me, because I don't understand this. When a person dies and they don't go into the light, they're earthbound. And those are the spirits I see and talk to, make the light and let them go.
Right.
Okay. People that are in the light, they come back and forth for visits, cause no problems, but I can't see them.
Okay.
People like James Van Prague, I don't know who else, but they can see them. Okay, the other guy,
John Edwards?
John Edwards,
Yeah.
the cuter one, yeah. Well, he is, but, okay, so this lady regressed these people. So there was a live person sitting in a chair that she regressed
Into their.
into their past lives.
Right.
Okay. How does that person sitting in the chair know, just from being in that space, what went on? I've been regressed. And the way I was regressed, this lady regressed you, and she made you stand in a hallway, long hallway with a bunch of doors on each side, and you could walk down that hallway and open any door and look in and see what was going on. So I could see what the people looked like, I could see what they had on. This lady takes you back through the birthing process. Hell no, that's not gonna happen,
It's
okay?
like, why would you want to?
That's exactly right. Why would anybody that ever asks me about regression, I always say, do what you want, but why would you want to go through that again? She kept saying in here, if I saw that they seemed like they were in pain, I'd move up or I'd move on.
Right, you would tell them, go to after that.
Right.
Yeah. But
I don't understand. I would believe her more. That's not the right word to use, believe. I would understand more if these people weren't reliving it. If they were opening up a door and looking, I could see where these people would be accurate. But going through it themselves, how could they be accurate? What happened 100 lives ago?
I think her point was that she was taking them back and they were feeling it. And so they were, although they're sitting here, they were in that space of their lifetime,
Sensing it.
soul time, sensing it. And I know several times when she asked a question, the person would say, well, my guide is explaining that. So I'm wondering how much of it is they're feeling it and how much of it was that the guide was telling them this is what's happening.
Yeah, maybe that's it. It just, these are like first-hand accounts
Yeah,
in which I just couldn't get my head around.
I
don't
couldn't
see how
understand
they
why
could be
anybody would wanna
accurate.
go through the birthing
No,
process.
that's just me.
No.
Well, I read another book by her. I thought, oh, this sounds familiar. And then I read her bio. And she would regress people. And she would say, okay, you're on an elevator. It's going up. The door's open. What do you see? And this one guy, he saw like a planet, not Earth. And she's like, oh, okay. And so she wasn't really interested in hypnotizing him anymore, but he wanted to do it. So the whole book was about, her hypnotizing him. And 12 spirits came through him, and she asked all kinds of questions about the beginning of the earth and whatever, and these spirits would either tell her the answer, or they said if humanity wasn't ready for it, they wouldn't answer. If they all weren't in agreement that they should tell the answer, but
Yeah, there was a few
spirit
parts in
would
this
come
one
through
that was
him.
the same way that,
She kept
You
referring
were
back to a
taking-
lot of her other books in here.
yeah.
Yeah, she did.
But I can think of questions she would ask and they would say, you're not ready for that answer yet.
right.
Or you could not understand that answer at this time.
Yeah.
Her whole take on walk-ins, oh, no, never. And little folk, did you see all the stuff in here about fairies and little folk? I'm thinking we should be reading this next month too, if we're doing fairies.
Yeah.
See,
But it's like opposite whatever
Ever-
I've ever,
anything I've ever heard, she's the opposite. You're exactly right.
yeah. Doesn't make her wrong, just makes it different.
Exactly.
I
It
thought it
worked
was
for her.
interesting that fairies have to evolve consciously to come up to human level, which is that's kind of when I started checking out on the book, like, and that animals all share one consciousness.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Or that they
Yeah.
don't have souls?
Yeah, they don't,
Yeah.
I don't buy that.
It's
What-
like- it's like-
Tell me that my Vishon sitting on my couch knocking the pillow off isn't there,
Right.
Yeah.
and that he doesn't have a soul. Oh, yes, he
Yeah.
does. Because his ears still go down when I yell at him for knocking off the pillows.
Yeah.
So, but no, that I don't go along with. The walk-in, I don't go. How can a baby in utero get a walk-in?
No, she didn't say it.
Oh, yes, she did.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, yes, she
Yeah,
did.
if
said
the
usually
soul
the
going
walk-ins
into the
wait
baby
until they're-
decides
where
to
they're
not
grown
do
up.
it,
That's right.
someone else could walk in.
That's
and-
right.
and,
She,
uh,
but while it hasn't even been born yet, she said it could
I
get a
thought
walk.
she said most of the walk-ins would wait until they're through all the childhood stuff and more like an adult.
Depends.
Yeah.
It depends
then
on when
they-
the soul decides, you know what, I'm not ready for this, I can't do it.
Right. If you're checking out, then another soul's walking in.
Yeah.
But the walk-ins that I've run across were people that died or committed suicide and completed the suicide, but their body was still warm and there was an earthbound spirit there. As soon as that spirit left the body, the walk-in
Came in.
walked in.
It didn't have memories that that person would have had before.
No, that person would be totally different from the one that left. And that's why if you know anybody that's had somebody commit suicide or be saved before they died, a lot of times they don't recognize the person after that because it's not them anymore.
Right.
It's somebody else. They love strawberries, now they hate them. They had no idea how to fix an engine on a car, now they're a master mechanic. This is what I literally ran across in houses. I'm talking to a ghost, and there is his picture on a shelf. And it's like, yeah, how did that happen? Did you have an identical twin? No. So they didn't even know. They didn't even know. So her walk-in theory, I don't agree with that.
They didn't know what. The ghost didn't know that
Well, the
somebody-
parents didn't even know that that wasn't their son.
Oh.
No, they had me cut out because he was acting so bizarre. And the heck of it is, in this particular case, they were so wealthy that when he turned 35, he was going to be a multi-millionaire. And he was nothing. Nothing.
So you were talking to the ghost that used to be in that body, but the body's still alive with somebody else in it?
That's right.
Oh.
And he was really upset that somebody was in his body and that he was taking advantage of his parents. And that he was gonna get all this money in about 4.5 years.
Right.
He was really upset. Now, how do you tell parents?
Yeah, how did they
And
take
how do you explain that to your parents?
Not well, let me tell you. I said to the kid that was dead, I said, you gotta do something about this. I said, you need to tell me something that they are going to believe that only came from you.
Mhm.
I don't know these people, and I said, so tell me something. He said, all right. He said, my father and I were playing golf and we each had a hole-in-one on the same day. Oh, that's different. So I looked at the dad and I said, you and your son each had a hole-in-one in June last year. He said, that was in the newspaper. I said, okay. And I looked at the son, I said, you gotta do better. He said, the next hole he threw his driver in the pond. I said, and the next hole you did wasn't so good and you got angry and you threw your driver in the pond or the lake. And he just didn't say anything. I says, that was in the paper too? He said, I said, okay. And I looked at Mom, I said, now you tell me something. Or said to the kid, you tell me something for your mother. He said, Mom was big on gingerbread houses at Christmas time. He said, I was 8 and we worked on this really big ginger house and I came down in the middle of the night and I ate all the gumdrops off the roof. And she just stared at me. She went, yeah, he did. I said, your son is dead. This is not your son.
Wow.
I said, you need to get your hands on a really good attorney because this kid called them ma and pa, not mother and father. It was
He
bad.
couldn't even fake it good.
Well, he didn't know.
Right.
He had no idea. So again, that's why I really disagree with her walk-in stuff. So what else sort of got you on this?
When she was talking about the different layers, the different levels and everything, especially when she said that the people that stayed close to the earth plane was really crossed over, but they're at such a low level that they don't want to go higher, and because they don't want to go higher, that's why they're still at this level. And I'm going, no, that doesn't seem right.
No.
But one thing that she was talking about the layers and the heights and everything like that, I thought of another book that I read. I don't remember who the author was, but she was talking about the different planes and how you had, you couldn't go up higher, you could only go down as far as communication, but you could send up, like so that someone up there would hear, oh, someone down there wants to talk, so they could come down a layer. And she kind of talked about the same thing with the guides, like I'm on level 5 and I need help from level 7. I can like, hey, if anybody's up there, come help me.
Right.
So that kind of made sense, but I'm sitting there looking at it going.
She used one example that I've used for years. You make the choice to go into the light. That's your choice. If you don't want to go, you're not going to go.
No.
And that's that. But if you go in, and I agree with the levels, okay? A nice person that is just a normal person that had a normal, nice, great life, raised good kids and everything else, maybe they'll go in level 10, okay? Somebody that was a crook or a robber and they die, maybe they'll go into level 1.
Oh, if I get negative numbers.
I don't believe in the negative numbers. I think they're just lower numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you're happy on the level you are, then, and you don't want to be reincarnated, you don't have to be.
Right.
That's your choice. But if you want to go higher, you come back karma and do it right. Then you can go higher. You want to go as high as Mother Teresa? You're going to be coming back a long time. I was shocked that she thought that that people had 100 lives. That seems like, but of course, if this is from the beginning of the earth, maybe, I mean, why not?
I remember all my dreams practically in extreme detail, and they're just like scenarios. I had this one dream, it was like the Twilight Zone, and everything was black and the spotlight was on me, I'm sitting on a stool, and it was very different, it wasn't a dream, and I said, who was I in my past life? And this voice like Morgan Freeman or God or something, says, which one? And I said, well, how many have I had? And the voice said, over 1,000. And I said, never mind. And that was the end.
And that could be true.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. According to her, there's life on all planets. Ted astroplanes a lot. He goes to other planets. He has seen other beings on other planets.
Sure.
I mean, he has done that. I don't think he's ever gone out of our solar system.
We all
Yeah,
love
Gone
Ted.
out of our solar system?
I think so.
Really?
Oh,
He says yes.
There you go.
Know that, okay. So she could be very, I don't, what I do is really narrow. I don't do everything. The only person that ever did everything was Sylvia Brown, just ask her. So I don't know. No, she was bad about the dead, she's dead. So, but, yeah.
I can believe, well, I don't know, they said they can live 1,000 lifetimes, but as far as that is, they don't have, there's more souls than there is.
Yeah, I read
So
that.
I was like,
Yeah.
She said about there's more souls waiting for handicapped bodies than normal bodies. Because you choose to come back, you know exactly before you're born when you're gonna die, you just can't remember it.
Right.
You can't be riding on a bus and think, geez, I'm gonna step off this bus and I'm gonna die. You couldn't live, so you don't remember that. But the weird part is this: if you were mean to a handicapped person, then you apparently have to come back and be a handicapped person to fix your karma because you were mean to that person when you were alive.
I don't know that you have to be handicapped, but you have to do something with handicapped.
Like
I read
something
it
that's-
supposed, if you want to get rid of that karma faster, you come back handicapped.
Correct.
But
Okay,
if you want to work on it slower, you come back and maybe you become a doctor who works
or a
with them
PT person
or
or somebody
PT
else.
person, or you
Okay.
have a child who's handicapped. So it's, again, the agreement with the other entities of how much do we want to grow and work on our karma within this lifetime.
Yeah, but then what about the person in this book that came back? They were killed and then they came back and killed somebody.
Yeah, see,
How
and
do
that
you-
to me is a
That's
negative
down.
karma. That's down.
See,
I thought that she addressed that by saying that that kind of creates, I forget how she worded it, but the karma just keeps getting worse. It's like an eye for an eye, and they don't want that. The council
positive,
doesn't
be
want that.
positive, right.
Right, so just because maybe say in this lifetime, I kill somebody, and in the next lifetime, I might have to, serve them. Maybe they're my boss, or maybe,
Right,
I have to, kiss their feet basically because I did them wrong in the previous lifetime. I think that's how she
Right,
explained
and she
it.
was saying that sometimes it goes the other way, that the ones on the lower levels can't let go of the anger they had in the last life, so therefore they will then hurt someone, kill someone, because in the last life, it was the other way around. And then that's when they go from level 3 down to 2 or to 1, because they couldn't let go of those negative feelings that
the
they had from the
alcoholism, the
previous
drugs,
life.
right.
And then that's when they would go down rather than up.
You know what? I don't think anybody knows for sure.
No.
I really don't. I think it's all gonna be a big surprise when we finally die. And I don't know. I liked when I could look into a room and see what was going on. And it's funny, she doesn't address that here, which I don't understand why. But you always come back with the same circle of people.
She
Because
did mention that at one
Yes,
point.
and it wasn't very,
It wasn't
she didn't
like-
go
She
into
emphasized
details
it.
about it, no.
No,
But every door that I opened, I recognized people. Maybe they were a woman this time and not a man. Maybe they were a kid, a good friend. You know, a really good friend was my mother in a past life. When I got regressed, I was looking for a specific answer for a very specific problem. But it's amazing. Like I said, you come back. Most of my past lives, I was a man. I wasn't even a woman. So, but think about this with your past lives. You always bring something back with you to this life. Always. Jack of all trades, master of none. The man can do electrical, he can do air, he can do plumbing, and he's a realtor. How does that happen?
Right.
Because he brought stuff back with him from past lives. So, and I do believe that to be true. So what else did you think was a little odd? Anything?
Well, page 179, it said, page 188, only God creates, okay? But then on 197 it says you yourself are the creators.
Yeah,
Right.
So she said that
Yeah.
several times, you know,
she
kind
can,
of
yeah,
contradicting
contradict
herself.
herself.
Some of the stories seemed a little bit too the same, just words changed or just a little bit. So I don't know. Does anybody here think there's anything higher than the Akashic records?
just the overall power.
I love the
you
idea
know.
of the tapestry. I know it's not popular.
I
Well,
know.
it appeals to
And
me.
have you heard that before?
No, I never heard it before. It's
You heard
wild.
that before about the tapestry, Melissa?
I have.
What did you hear about that?
That kind of like how she did explain it, how everything's interwoven and it plays in, and that it is it's like something that you can see and how everything is interconnected. And so then when you compare that to like the Akashic records, that Akashic record is that one person, not the whole movie playing. So, you know, I kind of snickered when, you know, she compared the Akashic records as like middle school and the tapestry was college. And I'm like, oh, I know actually right over here in this development circle that they would just have a shit fit over that. And I want to pop my popcorn and let them go at it. But, you know, I can see how they would be different, but I have heard of the tapestry.
But see, I have heard that there's different levels of the records though too. So maybe, you know, maybe you can get more. The tapestry thing was all brand new to me. That I'd never heard. I'm okay, maybe it's there. I don't know.
Right. Well, and I mean, you can turn around and then say they could all just be different forms of the same thing. If you're comfortable with the book, now it's a book. If you want to see broader, now it looks like a this.
That's
And
awesome.
how, you know, what is your ability to be able to see it?
Right.
How do you
So-
understand things?
That's right. Right.
And that makes more sense.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Because some people are visual learners and some people are
Here.
more auditory.
That's right.
or-
That's exactly right.
Well, then you could say too, the book, maybe they're at a level, well, they're only worried about me and what happened to me. So this is my book. Versus you get to another point, be like, okay, how did I affect other things? And how did those things affect me? And why did I react that way out?
And there's where the definition of karma would come in.
Mm-hmm. So
Because
versus
however
book
you
and
affect,
tapestry.
it's going to come back to you. That's why you always want to put positive out and not negative, because it will come back.
Mhm.
There's no doubt about it.
Is
So-
this lifetime or the next?
Piggybacking off of that point, it was around page 185 where they're discussing, you know, good and evil. And this person that's regressed says evil is not an accurate term. and says it's simply misguided, and that would be a more appropriate term. I'm scratching my head like, there's evil in
Then
our.
believe me, come with me to a portal. I can show you, when we know evil, it exists.
Yeah.
It exists. She used Hitler
Yeah.
as an
I
example.
know.
Yeah, he's
Wasn't that
bad.
bad? It's like, okay then,
Yeah.
okay, give him a stick of Wigglies and see what happens, you know,
It is a
but,
little misguided.
yeah.
Yeah, that one kind of threw me. It's
scares
everything he could be creative, so because as a kid he couldn't be creative, he's going to kill millions of people.
And wipe out a whole generation
Yeah.
of Jewish people? That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's
that just.
Ridiculous,
But
so.
again, it makes me wonder, is she like on level 4? And that's why everything's given to her this way, where other people are on level 8, 9, and 10, and they can understand it differently because she cannot accept the idea that there is evil. So they're not telling her that there is.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it. That could be.
Because you have to wonder,
She said there's no hell.
Right, that's.
Oh, really? No, I have to believe there's a hell. I have to. I also believe God's all forgiving, so if you ask for forgiveness, you'll get it, but I don't think a lot of these people bother to even ask for it. So, you know, how can you look at the world the way it is now and not say that there's evil in the world? You can't not say that. And these spirits that come out of portals that are so negative and so bad, I mean, they will still molest a child as a spirit when they come out of a portal. They will still give a woman all kinds of grief if they rape somebody when they were alive. Where is that not evil?
right?
So I just can't go along with that. This lady is dead, you
Yeah.
said. Okay. But you said her daughter has taken over for her? Is that what you told me, Melissa? No,
Yes.
where did I hear that then?
Yes,
No, you did tell me.
the author is dead. The daughter is kind of picked up the mantle and carried it on, doing the same type of regression work. And I believe has a program where she will certify you to do this type of regression work.
Okay.
Because I took a peek at the website, just I'm like, maybe she'll, zoom in with us or something. And like, nope.
Oh,
Is she even a doctor or a therapist? Or
You
she
know,
just
I
jumped in to
honestly,
do
I
that?
want to say Dolores was. I don't know about
yeah,
the
she
daughter.
said she had degrees.
Yeah, Dolores did. I'm
Yeah.
wondering about the
I
daughter.
don't know about the daughter, but I do know you do not have to have a doctorate to become a certified hypnotherapist.
That's true. That's true, you don't.
And so she could go become certified to be a hypnotherapist and then put up this company name, and there's no regulating body that says, you haven't done this long enough or you haven't, met in certain criteria. But that's a lot of things in the woo-woo world, right? There's not even a governing body for Reiki. You
Well,
can make up your own kind of Reiki and put it out there.
Years, and I'm talking many years ago, if you wanted to do Reiki, there was very few places to even learn how to do it. It wasn't as popular as it is now. But the weird thing is they told you then if you want to do Reiki, at least get a manicurist's license,
Mm-hmm.
because people that do manicures touch you.
Mm-hmm.
And you could get away doing Reiki, but if you really do Reiki right, you'd never put your hands on anybody
Right.
if you do it right. So, so I don't know about that, but no, it's just so strange. What else did you pick up on that?
I have something here.
Oh, okay.
Page 116 at the bottom, it says, do people ever go backwards? I was thinking about the theory that humans incarnate as animals. And the answer is no, unless you're extremely beastly. In other words, if you acted like an animal and you wanted to become an animal, you could, yes, but this is very rare. This is not usually allowed. It was at one time possible, however, it is no longer. It was done during the early days of the experimentation. And I want to know what that means, the experimentation.
Why does God have to experiment?
Are we the experiment?
I think we
Yeah.
might be.
Yeah.
You know, are we in a little, some kid's desk somewhere, like an ant farm? Is that where we all are? Are we
Yeah,
in a
or we're a
little
game,
ant
a
farm
board game or
somewhere?
something, you know, and they, you know.
You don't know. That's right. You just don't know. I don't think animals, I don't think you become an animal. And I don't think animals become people. I know people in India believe you're a cow because they're so sacred, but okay. But I just can't see. I don't even think that the species flip. I don't think cats become dogs or dogs become cats. I think you stay in your same species. Just like when you die, you don't become an angel. Angels were created as angels. You can become a guide. I believe that.
You could get advanced.
Exactly. But I don't think that you become an angel. I think that's totally wrong. So,
I could swear that my dog was, or cat was a dog in a previous life because he fetches. And he's just clingy.
oh
like
no, I
dog
had a
is
cat that
clingy.
did that.
I do too.
Yeah, I had tin balls we would throw them on the shelves and he would go fetch them and bring them back
Yeah.
down.
Drop it right in your lap.
Yeah, no, that's what, sneaky. That's what he used to do, yeah. So, yeah. Well, you have cats too. They fetch too, don't they? Yeah,
They
once
do.
especially if you start when they're kittens. They don't, they play with them.
The other one just
But
stares
who's to
at it
say
dog
that?
like.
Pardon?
You're saying, in that aspect, you're saying that we are the higher species because we think.
I think
So do you
animals
honestly-
think too, but not at the level
Right,
we
Do
do.
you honestly believe that we're the higher species?
No, I
Because
think there's
don't.
somebody above us.
Well, true, but I think nature-based and animals, I think they have the same basic thought patterns and things that we do.
Oh, sure, eat, sleep, survival, of course.
And
It's your
love
basic
too.
species.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. I think that's just life.
Natural
Everybody tries to
unconditional
protect their
Yeah,
own
they really have.
self or their own
Right.
body, whatever,
But
but
each
yeah.
species has a purpose.
But for her to say that all the dogs and all the animals are under one conscious, I don't believe that either.
No.
I,
No.
every
think
every one of
everything-
my cats or dogs are totally different from one another. even if
They are,
they're
they all have
brothers.
different personalities.
That's
but
exactly right.
I work under the aspect that we're all, everything is interconnected.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So it really doesn't make that big of a difference on which species it is.
No,
We're
but see,
interconnected.
she doesn't have animals in the tapestry. It's only people.
See, I don't buy that either.
I don't either.
But see, I wonder, I mean, she regressed so many different people, and there's all these accounts that didn't necessarily make it into the book. So maybe they have something different to say about animals and their souls and the tapestry. Any number of things.
I mean, she didn't make this up. This is stuff that people told her.
Right.
So this isn't like she's saying this.
Are you sure of that?
But she's selecting, the thought is she's
Under
selecting
that
those
aspect,
that
are you
follow
sure of that?
For
Because the way the
narrative,
book is written,
I don't think so.
I don't,
Didn't she
I found the
hypnotize him?
book very hard to read. One, I don't like textbooks. I find them very hard to read. I'm not into memorization and all kinds of crap.
No, that's why this book was so easy to read, because you could just skip pages.
Oh, you can skip almost every question and answer period that she had there.
You know, you heard, when you sat down, you said you had a dream where you were sitting and there was a bright light on you, and you asked about past lives or something like that in your dream.
Right.
That was your recollection of that dream. Does that mean it really happened? You believe it did. If you were to be hypnotized, would you tell somebody that? These people that are hypnotized, is this what they think? Or is that what really happened? See, again, because they're not really they're not from the light and they're not earthbound. I need to put them someplace.
And they're from different levels too, depending
Right,
on.
which doesn't make any sense to me. Now, she talked about purgatory in here. Well, the church threw out purgatory. There's no purgatory anymore. She called this almost like a purgatory.
Mhm.
See, and when we were going to Catholic school, when we were kids, and the nuns would teach us, it was you went to purgatory to learn how to do it right before you could go to heaven.
Right.
So this might, I think, what kind of upbringing do these people have? If you were brought up very religious, your idea of what this would be like would be totally different than an atheist or an agnostic person.
Right.
It would not be the same. I don't know. Like I says, I don't think there's any right or wrong. This is what worked for this lady, and this is what she truly believed. I mean, she had, 17, 18 books, so she was obviously, and I don't know.
Well, it was so ambiguous, everything was kind of. It's like, well, when you die and you go to wherever, then if you think there's a hell, then there is a hell and you might go to it. If you don't think there's a hell, and if you think it's gonna be a beautiful field, then it'll be a beautiful field. And if you want it to be this, then it'll be a beautiful, spa place or
That's the next
something
one.
like that. And well, usually, like our,
And if you want to get a head
Spirits
start
always
for
have your best
September, this is the one
Almost
that's
always.
in September.
almost always it's
Right.
like this, or it's almost always like that. So, I don't know. It was really ambiguous, I think.
Beside birth and death, and I guess taxes, what else is for real? I don't know. Any questions from the computer?
No, not exactly questions yet. But when you were talking about Hitler, Wendy said Hitler was daddy issues. Um,
Really?
and she also said that the whole karma process seemed really, really long.
Yeah, I think it is too. I don't know. I like to think that if they kept it simple, and I'm just saying 12 lives only because there's 12 signs of the zodiac, also. I'm thinking that I would like to think that if you don't have it by your 12th life, you're not going to. So,
Right.
Deep shit here.
yeah, right.
Well,
Exactly. And I do believe you make your choice.
No,
You don't have to come back. I joke, I'm gonna go to light when I die, but I'm taking a long break till they get the world right before I come back. You could choose. That I believe. You do choose when you want to come back.
and you can choose to go to a different location. a
That's
different
right.
Universe.
That's right. Apparently you can.
I didn't like when they brought up crib death, all of a sudden you just decide, I don't wanna be here anymore, I don't like
See,
my parents. And
Nah.
all of a sudden, I don't know, some of us kinda,
My opinion is that your guardian angel is already around you about 4 to 6 weeks before you're born. That's your constant. That is going to be the person, the only one that is going to stay with you 100% till the day you die. Your spirit guides, a brand new baby has spirit guides, but they're not, what does a 6-week-old baby need a spirit guide for? So the older they get, the more intelligent spirit guides come in to help. The older you get, the less you have, because you're getting older and you don't need it as much anymore. So, but I think that, I just don't think, like crib deaths, sudden infant deaths, I don't think the soul ever came into the body, that's when the baby died. That's my opinion. I really believe that. And who knows, maybe she's right, maybe they changed their mind at the last minute and decided they didn't want it,
that's
I
how they
don't know.
said in the womb, they can just go in and out.
See, nah,
Yeah,
no, that's why I don't believe you get a walk-in in your womb, that,
right.
there's not that much room in there, no. So, no.
Now, Marian, what did you, I don't know if you read that part where there was, she was interviewing somebody whose past life, they were being burned at the stake. And that she was able supposedly to leave the body to not feel pain, but was very upset that the body still screamed. And I'm like, well, this would kind of like, in my mind, equate to when people are in a coma or something.
Life support system.
When they leave the body and the doctors check and the body doesn't respond. So I had kind of a hard time kind of buying into that one.
Right.
Like your soul just did not get up. Maybe you kind of mentally watching from a higher plane, but you're not fully out of the body. Like I did not
Right.
kind of get into that one either.
I've talked to people that they were abused as children. And 5, 6, 7-year-old sees the father coming after them with a belt or a stick or a broom or something is gonna beat them. These little kids have learned how to tune it out and leave their body. They're watching it happen, but they're not feeling it. They are not in their body. So that's why I don't believe.
It's like the astral project to just.
Exactly, that's exactly right. I think that is so true. And I think that would be the same thing with this gal getting burned at the stake. If she left her body, she wouldn't feel a thing. When I go to hospitals to see people on life support, their spirit's standing right next to them on the outside.
Mhm.
They're fine, they feel fine. Their body looks like hell, but they feel fine.
Right.
And so whatever the body's going through, they don't feel it. So I don't know. And again, that's just something that everybody does things different. You know, what works for her wouldn't work for me. But then I think some of the people that don't. I wish she had talked to people that had actually crossed over. I think this information would be more accurate if she talked to the ones that crossed over. Because I think to the ones that she has talked to, they are working to go into the light. They're not there yet.
And that could be the problem. She cannot talk.
She cannot talk to them. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
I wonder what she thought about the middle astral level that was described where it's like, you know, you might meet up with your family in a cute little cabin by the lake, but it's almost like, I felt like she was condescending those people and saying, well, you know, if you really want to keep growing, you have to separate
Go
from your
higher,
family
right.
to go higher.
But what if you're happy right there?
Don't we all want to reconnect with people we love?
That's right,
On
and
Earth.
that's the whole thing. I'll see you in heaven. I'm waiting to see mom and dad, right. All my dogs and cats are up there, I'm gonna see them all. Exactly. That's right, that's exactly right.
But it doesn't mean you're going to be with them or necessarily want to stay with them. I could see, you know, meeting them up and saying, okay, you're studying here and I'm going to go be a guide there.
Yeah.
And,
Well, sure.
you know.
Yeah, but I think
she
you
made it
have to
sound like
cross
you're
though.
just going to stay right there.
Yeah, which is, I don't think
I
is
don't
true.
think that's true.
No, I don't think that's true either. No, so,
So are you saying that a body can be alive without a spirit in it?
yeah, people that are in a coma, people
Even
that
if
are
you
on
just-
life support, if your brain is legally flat, your body is dead. They keep it alive, maybe for harvest, you know, for parts and pieces. But no, if your spirit is out of your body is done. There's nothing there.
What about you were saying about crib death, that they never had a spirit to begin with?
Well, that body is functioning even though it's on life support, okay?
No, I'm talking about crib death now.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
okay.
but I'm saying the same thing, that a baby body is formed, the body is gonna come out and breathe, but that doesn't mean there's a soul in it yet. That's why I think these kids die so fast. Or, what's it called, late term miscarriage. It never came in, they lost the baby at 7 or 8 months. I think that has something, I really believe that has something to do with it.
And
There's
I do
a,
have to wonder
question.
Sometimes if the sudden infant death syndrome might have something to do with something that was prearranged between the mother, the child, and everything.
Right, now let's use that as an example. Say a lady was pregnant and she had the baby and she wasn't a good mother, she didn't have any mother instincts toward this. We all know kids are in foster care. That's not an unusual thing for parents not to like their kids or be mean to them. So does that mean now that she's going to come back to fix her karma and be one of these babies that are treated bad? According to her, yeah.
Yeah, and I won't miss.
I don't know.
Yeah, she was going a little too close to an eye for an eye because you can learn without having to have your eye poked out.
That's right. But I'd have to look, I don't remember. When she wrote the first book, the first edition of this book, it was a while ago. And I think that the longer that we are in this area of learning now, and I think it's gone crazy. I mean, 20 years ago, nobody would talk about any of this stuff. Look how far we've all come now in 20 years. We know more now than we did 20 years ago. And so, you know, maybe if she had lived longer, she would have changed some of this. I don't know.
There's a request from online to talk about the imprints.
Okay, I would call the imprints, the definition of that in my mind is what you bring back with you from a past life. It's imprinted on you. I'm a very good baker and I don't use a recipe. I can open up a cupboard and go, oh, I think I'll make this pull-out flour pull. It comes out delicious. But I was a baker in a past life. Okay? I also did woo-woo stuff in 4 of my past lives and I was killed 4 times because of it. This was not accepted. So, but like I said, I watched what they did to me. I didn't relive what they did to me. I was only 8 when I was drowned the first time. We had an in-ground pool when we lived in Worcester. It was a diving pool. And I can remember when we first put that pool in, had no knowledge about getting hypnotized and learning anything like that. And I remember getting in that pool, jumping in and going to the bottom. It was 10 foot. Going to the bottom and I'm down there and I'm looking up. It was a beautiful sunny day like today. And opening my eyes and see the water, just like diamonds. Water was just popping with color and beautiful. I really thought I could just stay down there forever. In my mind, I wasn't going to come back up. And then it's like, I can't breathe. Get to the top. But that's how I died. I don't know.
So was it a soul memory of what you saw as you were leaving
But
the
I
body?
didn't live it.
Mhm.
I didn't live it. I watched it.
Right.
That's why I suggest that that's the way you do it. I mean, do it. I think it's amazing. The gal that we went to taped it. She gave it to you. And it's amazing. You could listen. I mean, that was a little tape recorder put in the tape. And it was amazing. Every time I listened to that, I learned something different. It would pop a memory that something else happened in one of my lives.
Mhm.
Okay? We had a friend that was a vet. We showed dogs, so she was our friend, what have you. And she rode horses. And I love horses. I think they're beautiful. I respect horses. I really respect horses. But she had horses and bring the kids down, let the let them ride Ziggy. Let them come down and ride Ziggy. So go down to the barn, let the kids get up there. She's walking the horse around. Well, it was an indoor ring. So she goes, come on, Marianne, get on. I went, yeah, no. Nope, that's not happening. Now I have to admit, I'm obviously not small, but this vet was probably 2 of me. And she rode Ziggy. And so, I mean, that was always in the back. Oh my, that poor horse. I'm not going to get on that horse and kill the horse's back. But it's like, well, no, Marianne, get on. So I get on this horse. And she walks away. And I swear, all I said was, that's all I said. And this horse took off like it was possessed. I am not kidding you. Katie turns around and looks at Ted and goes, wow, I didn't know she could ride. He said, she can't. This horse wouldn't stop. She jumped in front of the horse to stop it. I swear to
Oh my
God.
gosh.
It didn't really hit the brick wall, but she did stop him. Ted said, what did you get up there and kick it, Megan? I said, I didn't kick it. And I was, yes, you did. Many years later, I got regressed. Guess what? I was a Mountie in Canada, and my horse fell on me and killed me.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Not a pleasant way to go.
No, that's why I respect horses.
Yeah.
I bet on horses on occasion, but I don't like to ride horses. So, and that's why I said, I think it's interesting if you can find somebody good to regress you. You know, it's just cool stuff to think that you did something like that. Or, you know, like the work that you do. What did you do in a past life? You know, were you a big electrician in a past life? Did you own an electric company maybe? You know, did you do tarot cards in a past life? You don't know if you don't get regressed. So
I lived in Salem
I believe that.
and I'm buried here.
Really? Okay.
I was regressed once and then I went and found the graves.
Okay. Cool.
Somewhere I have a picture of them,
Wow.
That is cool.
husband and wife, and it's in the Salem graveyard.
With this wife?
Yes. Only I wasn't me.
Right.
I was a female.
Yeah, okay.
And my partner, so to speak, was the male side of it.
Right, right.
She was a sea captain. I was what you call housewife's colory maid, whatever.
Right. Okay.
I can see that.
Yeah, so like I said, it's, and maybe that's why he's interested in this stuff now, because it happened in one of his past lives. You know, you're drawn to stuff for a reason. What's the reason?
You know, I wonder if this is possible. This is kind of related to like a whole birth experience. I've sworn my entire life that I remember the day that I was born, and it's supposedly impossible, but I remember seeing bright lights and being, you know, swaddled and unable to move, and they're directly over my head, and I started crying because of the sheer frustration that it's so bright even with my eyes closed. So my family to this day, they'll tease me and say, ooh, the bright lights, you know, like she remembers it. But I wonder if it's
Why
possible.
can't you? I think you could. I think absolutely you could. There's so many books out about these little kids that were pilots in World War I and their planes went.
Yeah.
How would a 4-year-old know how to even know what a plane would do?
Right.
That you bring stuff back with you, and I bet you did remember that.
I was jaundiced, so they did have me under bright lights, so I think I remember it.
Yeah, you remembered it then,
Yeah.
yeah. The earliest I can remember something was about 14 months old. I can't remember anything before 14 months. And some people don't remember anything in their childhood. You know, it's like, yeah, I went to kindergarten. You know, that's all they remember, so I don't know.
I think you remember what you need to remember.
Throw
Or
the rest out.
what your soul thinks is fun to remember.
Need.
Need is a big one.
If you
And then
need
the
it, you're
rest
gonna
is like-
remember it.
Yeah.
That's right. I believe you're right.
I wonder if deja vu plays into this at all. You know, like she was talking about like kind of fate, how like there's big important events in your life, people that you're supposed to meet, things you're supposed to do that are planned out as part of your contract before you get here. But you still have your free will. So I guess I'm kind of wondering, like, now the thought is flying out of my head, but
You're thinking maybe if you hit one of those spots where you're meeting that person, that's when.
that's your deja vu, precisely. Yeah. That's your
Haven't
deja
you ever
vu.
walked into a room and gone, geez, I know I've been in this room before, and you've never been in this room
Right,
before?
yes, yeah.
I think that happens to all of us.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's very, very common. I don't think it's that unusual. And it's exactly what it is, deja vu. You know, someplace in some life you've been in that room before or something similar that you remember. You know, you know, again, there are just some people that can just pick up stuff and do stuff they don't have. What about these people that can, these, what do they call them, savants, with the pianos or the math.
Mhm.
Don't tell me they didn't bring that with them.
Yeah.
They had to.
I mean,
Well, you already know everything.
right.
What do you mean?
Well, under the aspect that we're totally connected in the universe with everything, you already know everything. It's just that our brain can't comprehend how to trigger it. There's savants and everybody else. It's from past lives, it's from everything else, all the other areas, but it's a part of their brain. I've known people that, I know one guy, he's a guitarist, plays like all hell. He's never played a harmonica a day in his life. And you know what? He found one on a tabletop, and you'd swear this guy played for all of his life. Yet he can pick it up. And he's picked up other instruments and just played. Don't have to read notes, don't have to see it on the paper. It's just there. It's triggered through him.
Something that your brain, and I don't think our brains can comprehend everything we know anyway.
We utilize less than 10% of our brain cells. Imagine if we can use 15, 20% or even more.
When I was 18, I was dating, well, I didn't date him, I just went with him. I went to a dance. He's not. Case Western. I went to a dance there. He invited me to go to a dance with him. So my mother let me go, and I went to this dance. And on the way down to the Case, he said, "Can I stop? Can we make one stop?" I says, "Yeah, why?" And he said, "I had to do an experiment for one of my professors." He says, "And I'm going to," he said, "will you be my subject?" And I have in my head Igor and Frankenstein running through my head. It's like, oh God. He had such terrible bad breath. And so I said,
Great.
"Oh, okay." So we stopped, and there was a professor down there, and it's so weird. It was one of those old-fashioned booths that you go in that's soundproof, and you can't hear anything, okay? And so the professor said, "This is a blind study." He said, you need to go in there. He says, "We're gonna show you like 10 things, see what you can pick up on, blah, blah, blah." Yeah, let's just get this over with. So I sit down, and the kid shows me, at first it was a deck of cards. And I had to guess whatever he would, what is on here? Is there a ball? Is there a diamond? What's on here? Okay. So I'm going through this, and they would never say if it was right or wrong.
Right. No.
They just said, "Fine, good, the next one, next one." And it was only about 15 minutes. After 10 minutes, the professor standing behind him, his name was Bob, the professor standing behind him, and he's looking at me, and he's looking at Bob, and I'm thinking to myself, uh-oh, I'm getting too many of these right. I better stop.
Yeah.
And so I stopped, but it was too late.
Uh-huh.
He accused Bob.
Of helping me cheat.
Right. So the professor said, Miss, can we do this one more time? And I says, "Well, then that really won't be a blind accurate study, will it?" And he said, "Yeah, it wouldn't." And I said, "So, yeah, I don't think so." And he said, "No, I'll throw the whole study out." I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, "But we're going to play with a different deck of cards." I said, "Yeah, okay." Now I'm sitting in this soundproof booth, and I'm watching Bob back there. He's actually chewing up there. I'm never going out with him again. And so I'm thinking to myself, what do I do? Do I do it right, or do I not do it right? And I'm thinking, nah, blow his socks off. So he started asking me these questions and everything, and I got one wrong. And he said to me, "I would like to study you more." I went, "Yeah, no, you're not studying me anymore." And he says, "This is not possible that you can do this."
Why not?
I said, okay.
Like this is.
And he said, what else do you do? I went, nothing. No, nothing. And he said, okay, this is 50 years ago. You don't talk about this kind of stuff 50 years ago. And I said, yeah, no. And he said, well, I will tell you this, miss. He said, most people use 10% of their brain. Most people use the right side of their brain only.
And you're using the left.
And I'm using equally both sides, only 10% of both sides.
Right.
Yeah. So see, this isn't going to apply to everybody.
Exactly.
It's what you bring with you from past lives. I really think that's important. So, and we did go to the dance, and it sucked.
You live and learn.
That's right. That's right. I wanted to go out with the college guy. Yeah, it didn't work.
Yeah.
So I went out with the Navy guy instead and married him. So that was more fun.
Hey, maybe in this next life he'll brush his teeth more.
That's right. I hope so. I hope so. You know, you hear these people at talk shows or everything, they say that their spouse died after 50 or 60 years and somebody contacted them from high school and they got together and they remarried. Oh my God, I wouldn't want to see anybody from high school. Ever.
I didn't want to see him when I left high school.
You intended to shake hands, believe me. Yeah.
You know, I worked on thousands of people, and I'm a massage therapist. And once in a while, somebody will walk in, and I'll just want to hug them and say, "Oh my God, it's so good to see you. I love you." And I have visions of them in a past life with me.
And I believe that that can happen.
Absolutely.
You know, you meet somebody the first time and feel like you've known them your whole life. Why? Maybe you did. Or other way it could work too. Do you ever meet somebody the first time and you go, oh yeah, we're never doing lunch. I don't know. I don't like you. Why don't you like that person? Now, in all honesty, is it because they have a curse on them and that's what you're picking up on? Or is it the ghost standing next to them that you don't like how they feel? Or is it the person?
Right. Is it past life experience?
That's right. You don't know.
No.
You just don't know. So, any questions from the crowd out there, Melissa?
Nope, but a couple of them have already bought the next 2 books, so.
There you go. Okay. Well, I think the fairy one will be popular next month. I really think that one will be
I think we'll enjoy that one a little better.
I think so too. I have to get some more Post-its.
I was resorting to just ripping up paper into little tabs because I had,
Okay,
and I'm
but
like,
no, I see you do the same thing I do.
yeah.
Everything is all scribbled in yellow highlight.
I quit putting
Yeah,
business
whole book.
cards in mine.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Mine's the same way. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions about this?
Does every soul start out like with nothing and they have to work out, does every soul have to work out every issue? You know, I mean, you're coming back, I'm coming back maybe to learn self-discipline, which I have none, and a few more things, right? Does every soul have to have all the issues and work them all out, or some of them, do we all start out as nothing, or?
I think that each lifetime will be a different one. And again, you bring some stuff with you, but what you don't bring with you, you're probably going to learn in this lifetime or fix in this lifetime, whatever it is. Every room that I looked in, my mother-in-law was in every one of those rooms. And there's no doubt in my mind that I have to come back and fix it with her. At some point, I have to do that. So, but I know that already. And I can't fix it because she's dead. No, I blackmailed her to go into the light. No, I gotta fix it.
Well, that's like this one guy, it was a client of mine, he was 73, and I had this vision of like during the Spanish Inquisition, right? And they had arrested my husband, accused him of something, and he didn't do it. And my client was the executioner, he was like beating him and torturing him. And I'm like hanging onto his cloth cloak saying, oh, please, let him go. And he like kicked me to the side, killed my husband in front of me. And he goes, and then I took care of you. I said, no, he was probably in this life trying to make amends, he said he'd pay my office rent if I would, anyway, he was married, but.
Does not
I
sound
said,
like
you know
he
what,
got
I need a
too far
car.
advanced.
He needs to fix his karma right now.
I said, forget the office rent, I need a car.
Yeah, right.
See, he was trying to serve you.
That's
or I guess
right, one way or the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, but I think
Well,
it's
in
from
one
the
of my
wrong
very
place.
first lives, we were Romans and I threw 10 to the lions. He was a Christian, I killed him. So, yeah, but we made up. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, want to wrap this one up? Are we good? Okay. Well, let's see about fairies next week.
So what did you actually think of her as an author?
Pardon?
What did you actually think of her as an author? with the
I think
book
she
that you
probably
read?
wrote for her time period, okay, but I think we know a whole lot more than we did when she wrote these. I think there's enough people that have abilities that have probably come up with better instances of this happening to people. I think she was I don't know, I've never read any of her books, other books, but I'm going to sense that they're pretty much the same.
That would be why I wouldn't read them.
That's right.
I don't like textbooks.
Right.
And
That's
Well, I mean,
right.
there wasn't a
don't
whole
like
lot of
being told
writing.
what to do. And to this, the way the book was written, it's like she wrote it like this is the gospel. And you either accept it or
You don't.
you don't. And
You
I
know,
found it hard to
to
actually
go along with it.
keep up with it, to
Yeah.
read it.
Well, that's why I'm one of these people, if I sit down, I'll just go. I'll just read a book through. And this was not one that I could do that.
Well, I
to.
do too. I just picked it up on a weekend.
Yeah, I would put it down and think, oh, I gotta think that one over before I go to the next one and try to figure out what she meant. But it's no fun trying to figure out what she thought.
Right.
That's hard to do. You can't figure out what somebody else. That's like, read one of my books. What's in my book works for me. That doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. Throw out half of what you read that I wrote and save half.
Mhm.
I think you should do that with any book. I don't think any book is ever 100%, ever. So,
Granted, I didn't finish it because I was just like, whatever. But I mean, it was an interview style, so she didn't even really have to write. It was transcribing
Right.
And
what
the way
was
she
told to her. So
transcribed
there's
it,
not a whole lot of
she would, like,
authoring.
talk about one thing here and then
and
talk
go
about
with
it
another
here,
one there,
and then
right.
here. So you may have that subject in 4 places.
That's right.
Why
And
wouldn't it have
refer
been?
back to it in 2
Right.
chapters. It's like, oh yeah,
Why
I think I
wouldn't
remember
you
that.
like,
Yeah.
okay, here's this. Now here's all the things for this. Then go to this one, and then here's all the things for that. So that you have a clear pathway of this is this discussion, this is that discussion.
But
she
if you
kept
think
jumping.
you were here for the
They
last
could have
one.
curated better.
Yeah, you weren't here were you guys here yeah, you were here for the last
I
one when
was
the
too.
author was here, okay. But if you think about it, all of his stories were interviews also.
But it was interesting.
Yeah, it was, but all of his were interviews.
Mhm.
So this must be the new thing, you write a book about interviews. Of course, my books are about houses I've cleared too, but it's how I saw the house, not
Not
the
how they-
house person telling me about it.
Right.
It's what everybody, it's how people do things.
Right.
Yeah,
I
like
like
I
the way it
said,
was
I think you can get stuff out of it. I can agree with some of the stuff. Last month, he opened my eyes more to some things I would have never thought than she has done. But there's still things there I'm hashing around. I'll give it some thought. So, okey doke, so we will do fairies next month. And don't believe anything she said about him in here, because that's definitely not true. So,
Never downgrade the elementals.
pardon?
I said you never downgrade the elementals.
Never.
No.
And they're not all sweet and good, believe you me. So, okay.
And that's a wrap.
That's
All right. All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody out there.
Well,